Good morning and a happy new year to all of you. Thank you. I just got back on Friday and I do appreciate all the welcome home that I have had. I'm still surprised. A lot of people still recognize me after all the tan. I look at myself in the mirror and I said, who is that? But quite a pleasure and a delight to be back home after almost 1 full month in Africa. And I want to use this opportunity to express my gratitude on behalf of our entire parish to all of you. Let me begin with our Father McHenry, that man who, after his retirement, the guy is in his 80s, you would not believe it, he still comes here to make sacrifices of love. To Father Lipinski, Father George, Father Jeff Worth, and our Deacon Dennis, our acolyte Tim Madden, and in a very special way, our staff members, they make a lot of sacrifices of love when I'm here and when I'm not here. Now, all those are wonderful, but it would be completely incomplete until I thank all of you who, through different ministries, but maybe not even through ministries, individually, you put in your little quota to make our parish a wonderful, beautiful family of God's children. And frankly, it is obvious when I'm here or when I'm not here. Someone just talked to me after breakfast today. He said, Father, I go to different parishes. I go to Florida and I go to Wisconsin. I go everywhere. But there is nothing as coming to St. Patrick. It really feels at home. Now, I don't know if you feel that way, but I do. I go to Africa. Mass is 3 hours, 4 hours. There's a lot of singing and rejoicing, and I love it. But I tell you something, once I come back here, there is that spiritual nourishment and excitement that I don't feel somewhere else because of what you do to make this place a beautiful place of God's children. And the way we worship here, I don't know about you, but for me, I really feel a sense of worship. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. When we were in Africa, we flew into Asuquo State. Some of you may not know, some may, because a lot of people from here have been there. And we did 10 medical missions in 10 different villages. Now, Imai Bridge Africa is the only charitable organization that when we go to the entire state. Some people go to their villages or to their little community, but we went to 10 different villages. And by the time we finished, in counting, over 5,000 people who otherwise would not have had medical treatment. They received treatment for malaria, hypertension, and almost 70 people received surgery for either hernia, appendicitis, and some fibroid. Some of the things that came out of human beings, you would not believe it. Some of them have carried it for 10, 20 years and could not afford surgery, but because of the team that went. Now, that team would not have been able to make it except for you. I tell you that with all my heart. It wouldn't be possible. Some people, 6 people went from here. We had people from Virginia, people from Maryland, Texas. We even had someone from United Kingdom who joined us. But all of that would not have been possible except for what you do here at St. Patrick Church. And I wrote to the bishop, every time before we go, I write to the bishop to say, this is what the Diocese of Rockford is doing through the people of St. Patrick Church. And on behalf of Jesus, on behalf of all the people who have received all this medical treatment, I want to say thank you with all my heart. Thank you. Now, we may look at it and say, it was so little, how much was it? But the little you do is like putting little pieces of loaves and fish into the hands of Jesus. He multiplies it. Can you imagine that because of what we do here, even though you may think it is little, over 6,000 people. Now, when we finished in Asuquo State, we went to another state about the distance from here to maybe Green Bay and treated 1,200 more people and did surgeries because of what we may think here was just little. Thank you. Thank you very much. As I came back, I heard about a few people who have lost their family members. As a matter of fact, some of them I heard when I was still in Africa. We offered Mass every single day. We prayed for all our parishioners, some individually, some collectively. We prayed for all of you during all our Masses. To those who have lost family members and dear ones, I want to express our deepest sympathy and condolences to all of you, and to let you know that you are not alone. We're all in this together as the Lord has brought us into one parish family. What affects you, affects me. And I'm glad that what affects me also affects you. You are not alone. We are here together. And at this Mass, I pray for all your relatives whom the Lord has taken to eternal rest. And I also pray for you for consolation in the hope of eternal life. Why do we have to go to Africa? Why do we have to go to Mexico? Why do we have to go to other countries to help people? Why can't we just do it here? Because God's love does not have boundaries. Human love has boundaries. I want to help my brothers, my sisters, my immediate family. All I have, I want to spend it within my immediate family. But God is boundless in his love. And when I came back this weekend, the readings talk about love. That's the summary. If you go back home and they said, what was the reading all about? It was about love this weekend. And I didn't choose the readings. They're very providential. That on the weekend we return from medical mission of sharing God's love and knowing that God's love has no boundaries. The readings remind us about love. What is love? 1 John chapter 4, if you read verse 8 and verse 16, both verses say the same thing. 1 John chapter 4, 8 and 16. Simple. God is love. If God is love and then made me in his image and created you in his image, the book of Genesis tells us, after he made all things, he created man, and of course woman, in his image. Therefore, you were created in the image of love. I was created in the image of love. Therefore, our origin is love. What are we created for? We are created to love. So the origin is love, and the journey while we are here is love. And finally, at the final destination, we hope to meet God face to face. Therefore, the final destination is love. Origin, love. Journey, love. Final destination, love. I looked it up in the Catechism of the Catholic Church. In the Old Baltimore Catechism, this is what it says. Love is to prefer God above all things and to prefer the neighbor for the sake of God. To love God above all things and then to love the neighbor for the sake of God. Even if I have no reason, because you haven't been a good person, or because you are from a foreign land, or you don't speak my language, you don't look like me, and I have no good reason to love you, just for the sake of God. Bottom line. That's why we love. Not because the other person is so good. Not because she was perfect. Not because of what he did or what she did not do. For the sake of God. St. Thomas Aquinas goes further to say that love is to prefer the good of the other. Now, imagine for one moment, if every single husband in this church today, and every single wife, every single child, every single parent were to work so hard to prefer the good of the other, not because of me, not because of gaining glory for myself, just the good of the other as the other. Brothers and sisters, that will be heaven already starting in our families, in our parish church, and in our world. And that is exactly what God does. God prefers the good of the other, and he makes sacrifices, including sacrificing his only begotten son. No wonder then Jesus said, after the experience of John's Gospel, chapter 19, he died on the cross and said, greater love than this no one has, that someone should lay down his life for those that he loves. Therefore, love is not simply an empty sentiment, it's a sacrifice. If somebody says they love you and they're unwilling to make sacrifices, they either don't know what they are talking about or they are lying. Love is sacrifice. I love the way St. Paul puts it in today's second reading. And brothers and sisters, when you go home, please read 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Read the whole thing. It's not too long. But in case you just want to summarize it, pick up a bulletin today at the end of this Mass. Flip to the third page. I cut mine out. I'm going to put it in my pocket for the whole week. At the bottom of the third page, you're going to see the summary of what this is all about. Love. To have a reference to God. And if I love you without reference to God, I am serving myself. Because I can say, look at what I've done for you. I gave you that one. I gave you the other one. and has no reference to God. I'm just trying to be a nice guy. The true love must be connected with God. To love God above all things, and then to love the neighbor because of God. And so the second reading summarizes it today by telling us what that love is. It says, if I speak in the tongues of men and of the angels, that would be a beautiful thing, to be able to understand the language of the angels. If I can understand all mysteries and understand all prophecy, if I have faith to move mountains, and I can come to church every single Sunday and pray to God and can perform miracles, and I understand all the things from Genesis to the book of Revelation, if I do not love, it is zero. If I can have all hope, but I don't love, it produces nothing. In fact, St. Paul says, I am like a clanging cymbal or a noisy gong, an empty vessel that makes noise but can do nothing. He goes on to tell us what love is. Love is patient. That man, that woman who, even though the other has made so many mistakes, I have decided to be patient with you. Not because I am justifying your wrong deeds, but because I condemn your wrong deeds, but I still love you. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. It does not boast. It doesn't count on what is wrong. It's not proud by showing you that without me you would have been nothing. Love is not proud, not rude. It doesn't seek itself. It is not easily angered. I don't know if you've seen husbands or wives or friends. They do a lot of things for you. They're giving you so much. The slightest thing you do, they get angry. That's not love. Love is not easily angered. Love hopes in all things. Even when he or she has made a mistake, even when he or she is not the best person in the world, love hopes that with God, he can change the worst situation and make the best out of it. Love hopes in all things. Love endures all things. Love trusts in all things. Love delights in what is good. Love will never fail. I've loved you for 10 years. I'm tired of it. That's not love. I did this for the whole year. Honey, this is the last time we're going to do this. That's not love. Love is what Jesus did. Self-sacrifice for the sake of the other. Now, when I was in Africa, I ran into one priest. We were together in college seminary. I haven't seen him in a very long time. So we trade notes. How are things going? I said, boy, it's great. I came for medical mission. And without my parishioners, boy, we wouldn't have been able to make it. We started it 10 years ago, and in counting, we've treated over 60,000 people. We have provided water for different 10 communities who otherwise would have no drinking water. I told him about training almost 300 and something children who have graduated from universities and giving microfinance loan to people. And he said, how do you do this? And I said, my parishioners. They sow the seed. And other people join. You know, people have come all the way from Atlanta. The Archbishop of Atlanta sent some money to us about 2 years ago. Said, I've heard what you're doing. Continue to do it. Bishop Malloy, I told him, and we put it in the Observer, even things and other parishes come and help because of what my parishioners have started. The boy said to me, you know what? Boy, I wish I could be in that situation. I've been a priest for 9 years, and the bishop did not give me a parish. Now, maybe you already know, you're not ordained to be an associate, you're ordained to be a pastor. Did you know that? That's the desire of every priest. To pastor in the place of Jesus, in persona Christi. Every priest longs for it. And so he said, my bishop did not give me a parish. And when I asked, I said, why am I not given a parish? I went and talked with him, and he told me, well, the priest you've worked with told me that your accent is too strong. People don't understand what you're saying. So he had a conversation with his spiritual director and went back. But he turned around to me and said, boy, I mean, you still have the accent. How come you are doing all this? I said, not me, the people. I wanted to change my accent, but they love it, so I kept it. And so he said to me, this is true story. When you trust and believe in the Lord, even the things that people may look as negative, they become stepping stones for you, not stumbling blocks. When you love and trust the Lord, the disappointments of life, the shortcomings, including your mistakes, become stepping stones, not stumbling block. I've had that all through my life. I've been, even in my seminary formation, I've been at a point that I thought this was over. But the Lord changes it and makes it something positive. It makes it stepping stone that I can stand and reach greater height. The same thing is going to happen to your business. The same thing is going to happen to your health. It's going to happen to your marriage. It's going to happen to your relationship. That even when you think this is the end, but because you have little trust in the Lord, He can transform the most difficult situation of life and make it a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. That's what has happened to my life. That's the story of my life. I tell you, before God and man. He went and talked with his bishop. Bishop told him the concerns. And then he said to the bishop, do you remember Pope John Paul II? Bishop said, oh, we love him. Everybody loves John Paul II, don't you? We all do. Pope John Paul II. He said to the bishop, do you remember Pope Benedict? Oh, we respect him. Great man of intelligence. And so the priest said, do you understand them? Bishop said, oh, absolutely. This priest said to the bishop, I studied in English in grade school, high school, college, and wrote all my thesis in English. And when I speak, you don't understand me, but you understand these other ones who study English at later time in their lives and speak with stronger accent than me. He said to the bishop, Bishop, when you love and respect a person, you will make effort to understand them. Whoa. The bishop blinked his eyes and he started shedding tears and repeated after him, when you love and respect a person, you will make effort to understand them. So the bishop decided to try him out, send him to a parish. After 2 months, letters flew in from parishioners. We love this priest. Bishop, please don't transfer him. Please make him our pastor. So this priest and the bishop now have a new relationship of love and respect. And the bishop is appointing him into his council of advisors and making him different positions in the office. Running things for the bishop now, just because there is love and respect. Love and respect. Love and respect will change things. Husbands and wives, parents and children, parishioners and priests, bishops and parishioners. When we love and respect a person, the dynamics will change. We begin to make serious effort to understand them, even though they may be difficult. We may judge them one way or the other, but love and respect will change the scenario, and then we begin to understand each other. That's why God put me here in this world, so that when you are difficult, or when I am difficult, we may love one another, respect one another, and begin to understand one another. No wonder he says then in the first reading today, from the prophecy of Jeremiah, before your mother conceived you, I knew you, and I consecrated you a prophet to the nations. What does it mean to be a prophet? A spokesperson for God. That's why the day of your baptism you were consecrated a priest, a prophet, and king. And today the Lord calls you by name and calls me by name and said the world is broken because there is lack of love. I am sending you out this week to your husband, to your wife, to your children, to your parents, to your co-workers, to people in your place of work, to people in your parish. Will you be an agent of love and respect for that man or for that woman? So we make effort to understand them and change this world into a better place. Will you? And don't be afraid. They're going to come after you. The first reading says, but the Lord says, I will be with you. They will not overcome you. You may try, and at a certain time, it might feel as though you have failed. You might feel like Jesus on the cross, and everything might feel as though it is all broken. Don't be afraid. I'm going to be with you. Just go out and try it. That's why we were created. In love. That's why our journey in this world is love. And our final destination is love. But it depends on you and me to take this message and make it personal this week. To be an agent of love, an agent of respect, no matter how difficult the situation may be. And God will put his hand, even though it might be so tiny, you might think, I'm not even worthy, I'm so insignificant. Put the little things in his hand, just like the little thing we put in medical treatment in Africa, little amount of money, small people who know nothing. Some of them are not even medical people. God changed it and treated 6,000 people. And this surgery for about 70 people when we thought we were so insignificant. The same thing will happen to you when you trust the Lord, when you put things in his hand, even though they are very little. Put it in his hand. It's going to transform your family. It's going to transform your life. And you're going to be the agent of peace and love and joy and make this world a better place. Let us go home this week and do it.